Hi, we're going to be working on 12.1, solving system of equations by substitution, elimination, and graphing. First, we're going to start off with substitution. So I have 3x plus 5y is equal to 13 for the top one, and then 2x plus y is equal to 4 for the bottom one. Now, whenever you're solving this, you want to make sure for substitution that you're trying to find one of your variables that have 1 or -1 for their coefficient. In this case, it is y right here. It has no other numbers in front of it like the 3x or 5y or 2x. So we're going to solve for y. For us to solve for y, we're going to figure out what y is. So we're going to take 2x and we're going to subtract both sides right here, just like that. Let me get that closer. Okay, so you can see that I have 2x subtract 2x so that we can cross out our x over here, and that would leave us with y is equal to a -2x plus 4. Now that we have our y, we can plug it in at the top here for this one, so that we can find out what x is. So now we'll have 3x plus 5 times this right here, a -2x plus 4 is equal to 13. Now that we have that, we can multiply the 5 all the way through so that we can get 3x subtract 10x plus 20 is equal to 13. We'll do this. So whenever you multiply the 5 by the -2x and the positive 4, that is what you should get. The 3x subtract 10x plus 20. Whenever we do this, now we can start combining stuff together. So now we can get a -7x, which is what a positive 3x subtract 10x would be, plus 20. Just bring that down, which is equal to 13. And now we're just going to subtract 20, so we can eliminate 20 on both sides. So now we have a -7x, which is equal to a -7. And now here you're just going to want to do your regular and divide so that we can get x alone. So we're going to divide by a -7 on both sides. Now that we have a -7x divided by a -7, we're just going to cross those out, and then our x is going to be equal to 1, a positive 1, because you're dividing by both negatives. Now that we have x, we should probably find what y is. So now that we have x, we're going to plug in this right here to find y. So we're going to plug 1 in for right there at the x. So you have -2 times 1 plus 4. This should be equal to y. So y should be equal to 2, because a -2 times 1 is a -2 plus 4, and a -2 plus 4 is 2. And if you want to make sure, you can plug it into your calculator. I have my calculator right here. We can type in 3 times 1 plus 5 times 2, and this is equal to 13, and you should get it equal to 13 as well. And that is how you do substitution. Okay, so here we are with elimination. So elimination is a tiny bit harder, just because you have to figure out more than just one thing. So in that sense, let's get started. So I have 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 6, and 2x plus 5y is equal to 7. So we want to find one of these, an x or a y. In this case, we'll find a y, but we want to eliminate one of the variables. So we're going to eliminate x. So to eliminate a variable, you're going to want to find a number to multiply both of them so that they get the same number at the end so that they can equal to 0. So a negative 2 and 3 would work best, at least in this case for right now. So I'm going to multiply this. Multiply this by negative 2. And multiply this by 3. So now we're multiplying negative 2 by 3. You're going to get a negative 6. And then you multiply negative 2 by 2, you're going to get a negative 4. So I have a negative 6 and a negative 4y, and that's going to equal to 12. Because a negative 2 and a negative 6 is equal to 12. Okay, and then we're going to have 3 and 2, which is going to give us a positive 6x. 3 times 5 is going to give us a positive 15. And then 3 and 7 is going to give us 21. So now that we have this, we can add them together so that we can eliminate the x. So let's add these two together. And that's so negative 6x plus x is going to leave us with 0x, or just nothing. You can just think about it as nothing. So then we have plus 11y, which is equal to 33. Okay, so now that we have this, we have 11y, which is equal to 33. And you're going to divide them both by 11, so we can get y alone. So now y is going to equal to 3. So now that we have y, we can find x, because you always want to find not just one, but both variables. So now we're just going to take one of these, and then we're just going to plug in y. So I'm going to take the top one, the 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 6. So we're going to put in 3x plus 2 times 3. Oops, I put times 2. Times 3 is equal to a negative 6. Okay, so I have a negative 3 plus 2 times 3 is equal to a negative 6. So that's going to be 3x plus 6 is equal to a negative 6. We are going to subtract 6 from both sides. So now we have 3x, which is equal to a negative 12. And if you divide that by 3 on both sides, we get x alone, and that's going to be equal to a negative 4. And of course, you're going to want to take your calculator and you're going to want to plug both of them in at least once into one equation to make sure that you have everything correct. So we're going to type in 3 times a negative 4 plus 2 times 3. And we should get a negative 6. And we got a negative 6. Negative 6, negative 6. For graphing is really easy. You just want to get y alone so that you can punch it into your calculator, because obviously that you can see we only have y's in our calculator to punch in. So I have 2x plus y is equal to a negative 6, and 5x plus 2y is equal to a negative 16. Now, if we want to get y alone, we're going to have to take some steps. So you're going to want to subtract 2x from both sides so you can get y alone, which will leave you with y is equal to a negative 2x subtract 6. So now that is one of your y's to punch into your calculator. And then for the other one, it would be 5x plus 2y is equal to negative 16. Subtract 5 from both sides like last time. You get 2y is equal to a negative 5x subtract 16 and divide both sides by 2 so that you can get your y alone, which is what that should be. Now whenever you punch into the calculator, for sure you should get a negative 4 over 2, or negative 4, 2. And to do that, you should plug in a negative 2x subtract 6 for one of your y's. And then you should go down. And then the other one should be a negative 2.5x subtract 8. And now hit graph. And they should both show up there. Okay, and then you're going to hit second trace and go all the way down to intersect so that you can figure out where they intersect. So it's going to say first curve, just hit enter, second hit enter, and then it's going to say guess. Hit enter, and then you should have your x is equal to a negative 4 and y is equal to 2, which is exactly what we got down here. And now for this graph right here, you were just going to graph it like it should be. So negative 4. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, right here. Right there is where they should intersect. And that is all you need to know for 12.1 solving system of equations.